ABC 10 News at 4 starts now.
We are also just days away from the return of the San Diego County Fair, which will also mark the return of livestock exhibits. In 2019, there was an E. coli outbreak tied to children that visited animals, areas, or the petting zoo. County health officials reported 11 cases involving kids ages 2 to 13. One child died. Several families sued, and today we're learning settlements have been reached. Good afternoon. I'm Lindsay Pena. ABC 10 News reporter Rachel Bianco joins us live with the response from the fair. Rachel.
Lindsay, in just 2 days, this entrance will be packed with people. The petting zoo is always a major attraction, and for some, it may be their first time interacting with livestock. A spokeswoman with the fair says news of the settlements is yet another reminder about the importance of washing your hands after touching animals. The rides are getting set up. The food vendors are getting ready. Just 2 days from the full return of the San Diego County Fair. This year also marks the return of the petting zoo and livestock exhibits. In 2019, a 2-year-old boy died and several other children became severely ill after becoming infected with E. coli. All of the children came in contact with animals at the fair. 2-year-old Jedediah King Cabasuela died after his kidneys failed. We spoke with his great-uncle shortly after.
He was hurting so much he almost couldn't cry.
Now the 22nd District Agricultural Association, which runs the fair, will pay 5 families nearly $1.3 million in a settlement reached in March. Health officials say all of the kids who got sick had contact with animals in the livestock barn area. The lawsuits allege the fair did not provide adequate hand washing stations, failed to properly inspect, clean, maintain, and disinfect the fairgrounds, and failed to properly inspect and screen animals with dangerous health conditions. The family of Cristiano Lopez got $1 million. The 2-year-old spent nearly 2 weeks in the hospital. His mom told us she wasn't sure he'd survive.
The memories and seeing him with a breathing tube and being sedated.
Monday, the Fair Board released a statement following the news of the settlements. It says in part, protocols regarding hand washing will continue to be followed, such as signage throughout animal areas, reminding folks not to touch the animals, not to eat or drink in the animal areas, and to wash their hands frequently while visiting animal areas and immediately afterward. Hand washing and hand sanitizing stations are located throughout the grounds and livestock areas. An attorney involved in the lawsuit confirms that the family of the little boy who died will get $3 million. Reporting live in Del Mar, Rachel Bianco, ABC 10 News.
Rachel, thank you. Now to the string of gun violence over the weekend here in the U.S. There were at least 10 mass shootings from a crowded street in Pennsylvania to a graduation party in South Carolina. Shots tore through a nightclub in Chattanooga, Tennessee, injuring 14 people and killing 3. At a Phoenix strip mall, a gunman killed 1 person. 8 others were shot and wounded. Shooters opened fire at a high school graduation party in both South Carolina and Texas. People ran for cover at a funeral outside a Kentucky church. And in Philadelphia, multiple shooters fired into a crowd, leaving 3 dead. The ongoing gun violence is leading more people to call for stricter gun legislation control.
I'm not trying to take away anybody's Second Amendment rights, but I think we can agree that there are common sense approaches here.
Congress is expected to take up gun control this week. Meanwhile, victims from the Uvalde, Texas and Buffalo, New York mass shootings will testify about gun violence to a Capitol Hill committee later this week. Now to the latest on the crisis in Ukraine. Ukraine's defense minister wants the U.S. and other Western nations to send more high-powered weapons to help win the war against Russia. This comes as Russian President Vladimir Putin warns the West that sending longer-range missiles to Ukrainian forces could push Russia to launch attacks on new targets. Last week, the U.S. committed to sending advanced HIMARS missile systems and rockets that can reach 40 miles, which Putin dismissed as having no battlefield impact. Ukraine says the weapons could be a game changer in the battle in the east, where Russian forces are now focusing their attacks. Turning now to coronavirus, back here at home, many students and staff in the South Bay were back on campus today for the start of summer school with a new rule. Masks are now required indoors. The Sweetwater Union High School District says it's in response to a rise in COVID cases in the area. In a letter to parents, the district said there was an increase in May. It also said there were more cases reported on campus since spring break than any time during the Delta variant surge last summer. There is mixed reaction about the return of masks from students and parents.
Honestly, believe we should keep wearing our masks because with the COVID thing going on, because it's not officially over yet. So I believe we should all stay safe, really, and keep each other safe.
I mean, it should be a choice. I still think it should be a choice. Yeah.
The district says it will revisit the issue next month to determine what this will mean for the upcoming school year. Taking a live look outside now as we get a look at the forecast. If you went outside today, you can already feel the temperatures getting hotter. Meteorologist Angelica Campos joining us now and tracking this warm up. Hi, Angelica.
Hi, Lindsay. It's just getting started. This is going to continue this week. We're going to continue to watch the temperatures go up. So let's take a look at the current conditions right now around the county. A little bit cooler as the marine layer starts to make their way back near the coast, but inland temperatures are trending 2 to 5 degrees warmer than yesterday. At the same time, areas like Poway, Ramona, and also Julian and El Cajon. The numbers there, 83 degrees in Ramona, 80s in Alpine. It is 82 degrees in Poway, mid-60s in Carlsbad, and all the difference is because of that constant cloud cover that we continue tracking in the afternoon and evening. Some patchy fog can be expected for coastal communities. And just to give you a glance at what to expect for the next couple of days, you can see those numbers going up towards the end of the week. I'll give you a closer look at what to expect as we head into the weekend and into early next week in our 7-day forecast coming up.
All right, thanks, Angelica. Mayor Todd Gloria gave an update today on the city's efforts to get homeless San Diegans off the streets and the help they need. He says the city is making good progress to get 450 additional beds by the end of the year. He highlighted the new interim shelter that just opened last week in the South Bay on Palm Avenue and construction now underway on a new shelter in the Midway district. It's expected to be up and running by July. Gloria also said a shelter will open later this month downtown for medically fragile women. He also urged homeless San Diegans to accept help that's available.
I ask you to please connect with the housing and the services that are out there. We have shelter beds available right now with low barriers to access. You can bring your belongings, your pets, your significant other. You don't have to be sober. We will take you just as you are.
Gloria also added that the city will be stepping up enforcement of laws that ban encroachment on public sidewalks and streets. He says enforcement follows days or even weeks of outreach efforts. The price of gas in San Diego County only continues to break records. The average price rose to $6.26 a gallon, setting a record for the 10th day in a row, according to AAA. It says the average price has gone up $1.50 since Russia's invasion of Ukraine began in late February. The high price of oil is a big factor in rising prices. There's also been an ongoing struggle to meet the increasing demand as people drive and fly more.
Gas prices hit yet another record high. AAA says the national average is now $4.86 a gallon, a 15-cent jump since just last week. Gas Buddy says there are now 10 states where the average is over $5 a gallon. California, the highest at $6.34. Now, demand's not decreasing yet, and in fact increased last week with Memorial Day travel. The pandemic has influenced the way we spend money and the way we tip. During lockdown, service workers were seeing more tips as many of us ordered in. Now, new numbers out today from creditcards.com shows that Americans are tipping worse than prior to the pandemic. The number of people who report always tipping at a sit-down restaurant dropped 4% from 2019. Food delivery and rideshare driver tips both went down 6%, although the survey didn't ask why. Experts have a pretty good idea.
I think inflation is definitely a big part of it because people have less money to go around.
Now, there's also the nationwide staffing shortage in the service industry that can make people feel less inclined to tip.
Sometimes the fact that you waited a long time for a table or maybe the food wasn't quite right, I mean, that's not the server's fault. Restaurants and other service industry businesses have had a hard time attracting workers. Now, this is a little bit self-fulfilling in a way, maybe, because a lot of people left the service industry during the pandemic because of the virus, but also because it doesn't pay that well, typically.
Now, he says young adults who have worked in the service industry themselves are usually the best tippers, but it's also the same generation most likely to say the U.S. should do away with tipping, even if it means higher prices.
In reality, that hasn't really played out, though. There have been some restaurants like Danny Meyer, for example, who runs a bunch of restaurants in New York City, and he was one of the founders of Shake Shack. He tried to do away with tipping at his restaurants, and it was really not received well by customers and by staff.
Creditcards.com found that hairstylists and barbers were the one exception to the decrease in tips. In 2019, 63% of Americans said they always tipped. Now it is 66%. Well, there's a push to get more Latino voters to the polls this fall.
Social equity is going to mean two very different things to a Cuban than it will to a Colombian.
We're hearing what voting means to the dozens of different Hispanic and Latino populations.
Also coming up, we're less than 24 hours away from Election Day for the June primary. We'll take a closer look at the San Diego City Council race, what outgoing council member Chris Cate hopes for his successor.
Well, even if you don't live in a state that has a key race in this fall's midterm elections, you will still feel the impact and whether there's a shift in the balance of power in Congress. About 1 in 10 voters this fall is expected to be Latino. And we spoke with Latino voters who say if they're looked at as just that, Latino, then campaigns aren't paying attention. The theater can be a place for us to escape reality.
I don't think you can really love anything if you can't be honest with it.
But the drama of our real world,
the details sweep back onto the stage,
gives Cuban-American playwright Carmen Pelaez plenty of material.
And I think if theater is going to properly reflect life or hold up a mirror to reality, it has to be political in one way or another.
She isn't afraid of getting political in her shows. Her latest, performed at a theater in Miami, is called The Cuban Vote.
We have a candidate that's all focused on issues and substance and actions, and then a candidate that's beloved by the community but offers very little in terms of policy or action or change.
She provided us these images of the show. She plays the main character. She used to work on Democratic political campaigns, but her show isn't about one political party. It's performance, drawn from life experience as a Cuban American. Perspective she feels gets lost in the national conversation about Latino voters.
Socialism is going to mean something very different to a Mexican than it's going to mean to a Venezuelan. And social equity is going to mean two very different things to a Cuban than it will to a Colombian.
According to the census, Hispanic or Latino heritage can derive from more than 20 different countries.
We're very different communities with certain things in common and also very different realities.
Michelle Hausman is the show's creative director. He's an American citizen born and raised in Venezuela, where the economy has collapsed as the result of political instability.
I've lived through the destruction of my country. I lived through how we were the longest running democracy in Latin America, and we kind of took it for granted.
His experience is different from that of Esmeralda Vieda.
I feel like we are no longer the Latino vote, right? We are a pot of generations, a pot of millennials, a pot of different upbringings, of different cultures.
We met Esmeralda in Nevada. She's a first-generation Mexican-American who's an independent voter.
Immigration is a very controversial topic, believe it or not, amongst Latinos as well.
There's also a misperception out there that somehow Latinos, immigration is like their number one issue. And it's actually might be for perhaps if you're a Mexican immigrant, that might be. But if you're a Florida Republican, the second, third generation, it's not.
Data backs up what Northwestern University political science professor Jaime Dominguez is saying. Ahead of the 2020 presidential race, Pew Research asked Latino voters what issues they considered very important. Immigration was outnumbered by 7 other issues. The economy was number 1.
So the opportunity, for example, for Latinos or Latinas, right, to be able to elect more representatives that mirror that population's growth to be represented in the halls of Congress, I think that only then will you begin to have more conversations about the diversity and these cleavages within the Latino collective.
Dominguez says campaigns need to do a better job of outreach with an understanding of the growing diversity within the Latino voting bloc, because democracy, like performance, takes practice.
You have to work on it every day, otherwise it'll fall apart. And when it falls apart, it's almost impossible to put back together.
Tomorrow is Election Day for the June primary. Hundreds of polling places locations are open now for voters countywide. You can cast your ballot in person at a voting center near you or drop off your completed mail-in ballot. Voting centers are open until 5 p.m. today, and tomorrow they'll be open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. Coming up, we'll take a closer look at the San Diego City Council race. And we're getting ready to ignite the night at the Disneyland Resort. This whole week, you'll have a chance to watch and win a family 4-pack of one-day, one-park tickets. All you have to do is watch ABC 10 News at 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. and listen for the cue to call. The 10th caller will win.
This 10 News Pinpoint Weather Report is sponsored by Anderson Plumbing, Heating and Air. Nobody wows clients like we do.
ABC 10 News meteorologist Angelica Campos is back with a look at that warm forecast.
Here we go, June doing what it does, just heating things up. And the marine layer helping some parts of the county to stay a little bit on the cooler side, but it's going to be warmer all over the county this week. Let's take a look outside. From Otay Mountain, just clear. Those blue skies looking gorgeous to start off the week. As we look at the number, 69 degrees in Chula Vista, and it feels like it is 67 outside with the winds coming out of the southwest at 8 miles per hour. Over the next couple of hours across the county, we'll see those temperatures gradually drop. It's still mild even at 6 p.m. with 76 degrees in our inland communities and about 70 in our coastal areas, with a few exceptions. Of course, areas like Carlsbad already at 66 degrees, 68 in Oceanside, a few 80s at this hour, Poway, Ramona, and close to it in Alpine. At the top of the hour, we were still close to 80 degrees. And again, the trend is going to be heating up this week. The temperatures making their way up into the mid-80s and even 90s in some parts of the county. The winds, not too bad. They are averaging 18 miles per hour here in Julian over towards Harrison Park, one of the windiest places right now with those winds over 30 miles per hour. Most of the clouds and Encinitas down towards La Jolla, even PB, seeing some of those clouds. So as you drive up and down the 5, you're going to see clouds starting to move in, but most likely they're not going to be an impact until tomorrow morning, but it should clear quite nicely. Overnight temperatures will drop back down to 64 degrees at the coast under cloudy skies after 8 p.m. In our 7-day forecast, 73 degrees tomorrow, closer to 80 on Thursday, mid-80s on Friday, the warmest day of the week. And for the San Diego County opening day in Del Mar, 77 degrees for San Diego. For them, temperatures will be in the low 70s, so it'll be a nice day for the county fair. Inland communities will average close to 90 degrees or better on Saturday and Sunday. And even Friday, expecting those temperatures to be above 90 degrees. Mountains also could be close to the 90s as we head into the weekend, but at least tomorrow it'll be a high of 81 degrees. And deserts, excessive heat starting on Wednesday. If there are any warnings or advisories issued, we'll let you know first. Lindsay, back to you.
All right, thank you, Angelica. Coming up, Paramount Pictures hit with a copyright lawsuit over Top Gun. How it could impact any future movies in the popular film franchise. Plus, the top priorities for candidates in the race for San Diego City Council.
Skycam Views, sponsored by Carlsbad Solar.
Fewer minors involved in serious crimes are finding their way into adult courts and jails. FBI data shows the number of youth arrested and referred to adult courts has dropped considerably over the last decade. Instead, teens are being referred to juvenile courts or community programs that are more rehabilitative. Now, states have been raising the age of adult criminal responsibility to 18 for most crimes. The movement has been spurred by research showing that teens' brains haven't developed key decision-making functions and that putting minors in adult systems is harmful and at risk to commit more crimes. All right, let's turn to the news feed, and it starts with a major drug getting FDA approval. GlaxoSmithKline says that its vaccine for measles, mumps, and rubella for kids 1 year and older is approved. Now, vaccine rates did fall during the pandemic as more kids skipped doctor's appointments more often. Well, think back to early on in the pandemic, just how coveted vaccines were. Well, according to the CDC, more than 11% of vaccines were thrown out in the United States. That is more than 82 million doses between December of 2020 and mid-May this year. Well, while we aren't seeing pandemic restrictions over in China, well, they're just seeing some relief. In Beijing, people are now allowed to go back to restaurants for the first time in a month. China is still taking a zero COVID approach, even as the rest of the world is going with more relaxed policies. Well, the gender pay gap is still pretty noticeable in medicine. How perspective from some male patients may be contributing to that.
And still to come today, Point Loma High School just got a major upgrade.
3, 2, 1.
We'll show you what's included in the school's completed modernization project, plus the upgrades coming to other San Diego Unified schools.
You're watching ABC 10 News at 4.
Your voice, your vote. We're taking a closer look at the San Diego City Council. There is a tough race in District 2 with several people challenging the incumbent. And the race in District 6 could make it an all-Democratic council. Our ABC 10 News reporter Melissa Masiha shows us the changes we could see.
There are 4 races in the San Diego City Council, District 2, 4, 6, and 8. In D6, 3 people are running, Democrats Kent Lee and Tommy Howe, and Republican Jane Glasson. They'll be replacing Councilmember Chris Cate, the lone Republican on the council who's termed out.
Whomever takes a seat, despite any political, philosophical differences that we may have, that they focus on the things that are front of mind for residents.
The district includes this area in purple: Mira Mesa, Rancho Penasquitos, Sorrento Valley, Kearny Mesa, and now University City. If Lee or Howe win the primary, San Diego could see a full Democratic council for the first time ever. Cate hopes that doesn't change what he sees as the city's priorities, which include public safety, homelessness, infrastructure, and housing.
There's no Democrat or Republican way to fill a pothole, right, as long as it gets done.
He also hopes his successor doesn't ignore the needs of the Asian American and Pacific Islander community in the region.
We saw an increase in District 6 in API representation within the district, increasing from 33% to over 40%. I think that speaks to the growth of this community.
In District 2, a competitive race. The district includes Claremont, Mission Beach, Ocean Beach, and Point Loma. Incumbent Dr. Jennifer Campbell is up against 5 challengers: Joel Day, Mandy Havlick, Linda Lucas, Lori Saldana, and Daniel Schmichowski. Campbell faced an unsuccessful recall campaign last year, and she's not endorsed by the Democratic Party.
Is it unusual for an incumbent to lose?
Incumbents, yeah, generally on balance do win more than they lose.
San Diego State political science professor Stephen Goggins said the high number of candidates may help Campbell. Her name recognition plays a role.
So unless you're extremely upset with how things are going or other things, many voters are more likely to kind of check the box for that person than many of the other candidates they may be less familiar with.
Here's acting chair of the local Democratic Party about the decision not to endorse in D2.
We have stayed out of it, per se. We tell our voters, here are the candidates that are Democratic, and then we're going to let it play out through the primary.
The party did, however, endorse Lee in District 6. Melissa Masiha, ABC 10 News.
In District 8, incumbent Vivian Moreno is facing off against Antonio Martinez. In District 4, incumbent Monica Montgomery Stepp faces 2 opponents, but is expected to easily make it past the primary. The Select Legislative Committee investigating the January 6th Capitol breach is working with a former ABC News executive producer to help produce their upcoming hearings. Former ABC News president James Goldston has served as a producer for some of the network's most successful news programs, like 2020, Nightline, and Good Morning America. The committee is doing multimedia presentations that weave a narrative outlining their findings. Their goal is to show how former President Donald Trump and his allies promoted a false narrative about the election that laid the groundwork for the deadly Capitol breach. That first hearing is scheduled for Thursday morning. Top Gun Maverick soared its way to the top of the box office for a second weekend, but the film franchise is now facing legal problems. The family of the writer whose magazine article inspired the original movie sued Paramount Pictures for copyright infringement. In the suit, the family claims they filed to reclaim the copyright to the article 4 years ago and that Paramount did not renew the rights to it before releasing Maverick. The suit seeks monetary damages and an injunction barring Paramount from distributing the film or any more sequels. Paramount has not yet commented. Today is the 78th anniversary of D-Day, which marked the beginning of the end of World War II. This is video of people gathering to watch the sunrise over Omaha Beach in Normandy today. On June 6, 1944, thousands of Allied troops from the U.S., UK, France, and Canada stormed the beach of Normandy in Nazi-occupied France. The amphibious invasion was a turning point that ultimately led to the liberation of Western Europe. A bill to recognize some of the veterans by giving them a Congressional Gold Medal is now ready for President Biden's signature. Just 13 of those Army Ranger vets are still alive today. A new library and media center is now open for students at Point Loma High School. It's part of the school's Modernization project. ABC 10 News reporter Natay Holmes explains that district leaders say they're working to upgrade all their local schools.
Construction is underway at some campuses while others are in the planning phase, and district leaders say they are hoping to renovate the schools in order to improve student learning as well as experiences like here at Point Loma High School.
3, 2, 1.
We're the second largest district in California with over 200 schools and 15 million square feet of school buildings. So it's a large physical plant, and it has aged over the years and needed a lot of TLC to bring it back up to our standards.
Now, the Point Loma Modernization project included the construction of this brand new 3-story, 38,000 square foot library and media center. Now, 10 classrooms sit on the second and third floor. Upgrades were also made to other buildings, and there is even a student quad out in front of the library with a nice grassy area. Planning started for this project in 2014, and district leaders tell us that the new building and upgrades at the high school cost over $50 million in construction.
San Diego Unified has helped to beautify the city of San Diego, and it's only because you, the voters, the taxpayers, gave us over $8 billion, and we've tried to beautify every school in this city.
Now, San Diego voters passed propositions S, Z, and YY to help fund the projects. We're told $500 million worth of construction and design is in progress at any time in the district's capital program. There are 40 large capital projects underway right now and 50 to 60 more that are in the planning and design phases. Among the upgrades at Point Loma High School and other campuses, the district is working to improve safety and security for students and staff. This means providing perimeter fencing and a secure single point of access to the campus to make sure all staff and students are safe. The district says it is putting its finishing touches on a school in Mission Valley, of course, bringing in a new school to accommodate the growth in that area, and the school is expected to open this fall. At Point Loma High School, Natay Holmes, ABC 10 News.
One spot where we see a gender pay gap is in medicine. Male doctors on average make more money than their female counterparts. As more women enter the field, that gap could shrink, but new research shows there may be some underlying factors driving up the pay for male doctors. Listen to this. Male patients were 20% more likely to seek a second opinion if they saw a female specialist instead of a man, according to one study that was published in April. Now, men were more likely to look for a male doctor for a second opinion, and they were less likely to go back to their original doctor.
So if female providers are seeing their patients seek second opinions, these patients are not coming back. And that means that as a doctor, you're no longer providing services to these patients. And as a result, you can't charge them. You're not earning the money that men are because your clients are moving away from you.
Now, this is a difficult pattern to break. Researchers say it helps if insurance companies or other review sites publish grades of individual specialists, and that gives patients a tool to verify the quality of their doctor. Medical practices can also make a conscious effort to refer patients to trusted female specialists.
We observe that if the provider or the primary care physician shows less of a preference for male versus female specialists, the patients are less likely to express these preferences as well.
Women were more likely than men to seek out a second opinion, but researchers found that women were less likely to make their decision based on gender. They pointed to other possible factors like the severity of the diagnosis or the cost of the procedure.
3 weeks after him being home, actually my wife delivering him, his head just started to swell.
Now we're taking a look at new technology helping doctors save even the smallest patients.
It's time for an ABC 10 News Voter Fast Fact. You'll notice you're voting for U.S. Senator twice on the June 7th ballot. First, you're being asked to decide whether Alex Padilla should stay on for the remainder of Kamala Harris's term, which runs through early next year. Then you must decide if he should get a full 6-year term after that, which runs until 2029. You can select the same or different candidates in each contest. A number of Republicans and Democrats are challenging Padilla for the job. And for more information on this and more voter fast facts, go to 10news.com/vote.
We're learning more about how the COVID pandemic affected some cancer screenings. A JAMA report found from 2018 to 2020, screenings for breast cancer went down 6%, and those for cervical cancer down 11%. Colonoscopies also decreased by 16%, but that was offset by a 7% increase in stool testing. Researchers say at this point, it is just too soon to know what the effects of decreased screenings will be, but they do say it is important to watch, especially in people of color who disproportionately missed screenings during the pandemic. Traditionally, brain tumors are identified and diagnosed under the microscope. Sometimes a small sample or subtle difference can make identifying the type of cancer causing it a bit tricky. But now, for the first time, doctors are using DNA samples similar to a fingerprint to help them out. Usher Qureshi shows us how it works and how this can improve patient care.
When he was just 5 weeks old, little Steve Stewart became easily irritable and started vomiting.
3 weeks after him being home, actually my wife delivering him, his head just started to swell.
The cause of that swelling turned out to be a congenital brain tumor, measuring 9.7 centimeters in length.
If we look at the MRI images, it literally took up half to more than half of his skull.
Dr. Angela Wanders is the head of pediatric neuro-oncology at Lurie Children's Hospital and co-chair for the Children's Brain Tumor Network.
So these are MRI images from the time of diagnosis. So all along here is tumor.
Wanders says congenital brain tumors like Steve's can be challenging for surgeons. The tumors bleed and can damage an infant's early brain development.
So even doing a biopsy puts a patient at risk.
For the pathology team, that meant very little tissue could be harvested from the tumor to identify it.
In this case, it was an endoscopic biopsy. So we're talking about millimeters of tissue.
We'll get in focus. Knowing exactly what kind of tumor they're dealing with is important for setting up a treatment plan.
And in this scenario, we knew a limited panel of immunostains would give us some guidance, but we needed something else.
That something else was a process called DNA methylation profiling.
Each individual spot in the DNA is either methylated or it's not, so it's binary. It's either a 1 or a 0.
Dr. Craig Horbinski is the director of neuropathology at Northwestern University Feinberg School of Medicine.
All of a sudden, a pattern emerges that reveals the identity of that tissue. It's very much like a fingerprint.
Horbinski's team is among the first in the nation to use the technology for diagnostic testing of tumors. The inexpensive technique, he says, could adjust a brain tumor diagnosis 25 to 33% of the time, even with the smallest sample.
All we need is about 1 nanogram of DNA, which is 1/1000th of a gram of DNA. We can get that easily from a tissue the size of the head of a pin. So it's extraordinarily small.
It also helps understand the origin of rare tumors and even predicts how effective specific therapies may be.
That's great.
Using artificial intelligence, they've already discovered new types of tumor entities that they didn't even know existed.
That's the beauty of the artificial intelligence aspect of this, is the more cases we have, the better the classification system becomes.
For 5-month-old Steve Stewart, the DNA fingerprint of his specific type of brain carcinoma helped doctors to target their treatment.
We got the results back rapidly, and that is a game changer in terms of clinical diagnostics for difficult to diagnose brain tumors.
A game changer that could give even the smallest patients a better chance of survival. I'm Usher Qureshi reporting.
This 10 News Pinpoint Weather Report is sponsored by Anderson Plumbing, Heating and Air. Nobody wows clients like we do.
ABC 10 News meteorologist Anto.